One fine day in early spring, I played a funny trick. Right in the yard behind our house, I planted a lollipop stick. Then every day I watered it well and watched it carefully. I hoped one day that stick would grow to be a lollipop tree. Ah, ha, ha, oh, 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 what a sight to see. Me and my lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree. Then one day I woke to find a very lovely sight. A tree all full of lollipops had grown in the dark of the night. I sat beneath that wonderful tree and looked up with a grin. And when I opened up my mouth, a pop would drop right in. Oh, 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 what a place to be, under a lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree. Winter came and days grew cold, as winter days will do. On my tree, my lovely tree, not one little lollipop grew. From every branch an icicle hung, the twigs were bare as bones. But when I broke the icicles off, they turned to ice cream cones. Ah, ha, ha, oh, 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 how I danced with glee under the lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree.
Would you like to have a lollipop tree in your yard? Well, once upon a time, but wait. Mr. Burl Ives is going to read you a story about a little boy and a lollipop tree. So open your book and listen.
The Lollipop Tree. Once upon a time there lived a little boy who believed in magic and dragons and flying carpets and everything else that grown-ups thought were impossible. People would say to him, "There are no such things." And he would say, "There are so." And they would say, "It isn't scientific." And then they would shake their heads at him and say, "Too bad." The little boy wanted everyone to believe in magical things because magic was fun, and if they believed in it, then they wouldn't shake their heads at him and say. So the little boy planted beans and waited for giant magic beanstalks to grow. But only little real beans came up. And everybody said, "See?" And he said, "Wait." Then the little boy planted pumpkins and waited for them to grow into magic coaches. But they only grew into pumpkins. And everybody said, "We told you so." And he said, "Wait." Then the little boy planted marshmallows and chocolate bars and gumdrops. But the rabbits ate the gumdrops, and a dog ate the chocolate bars, and a squirrel ate the marshmallows. Nothing grew. And everybody said, "Scientifically, you are wrong." By now, the little boy began to think that maybe they were right, and so he sat on a rock and ate a lollipop and thought that it was just too bad there wasn't any magic anymore. Because magic is nice and is fun and good and very interesting. He thought, "I'll try one more magic thing, and if it doesn't work, I won't believe. And everybody will be right, and I will be wrong. But I won't like it." So he planted the lollipop stick. The next morning, the little boy woke up early and ran outside to water the lollipop stick. He did that every day for days and days, but nothing happened. No dragons or coaches or magic carpets appeared in his backyard. And when people said, "See?" he would say, "Maybe." One morning, the little boy woke up early and went outside to water the lollipop stick once more, just in case. He didn't see any coaches or magic carpets or even one dragon. But just where he had planted the lollipop stick, there was a very strange-looking tree. It looked like a giant lollipop stick with leaves, very sticky, sweet leaves. And hanging from its branches were hundreds of lollipops, every color and every flavor in the world. The little boy ran up and shook the lollipop tree, and a lollipop popped right into his mouth. After that, when people would say there was no such thing as magic, the little boy would take them to his lollipop tree and ask them what flavor they would like. And as they stared at the tree, he would shake his head and say, "Too bad." The lollipop tree may not have been scientific, but it certainly tasted good.
Here's the Lollipop Tree song again. This time you sing along.
One fine day in early spring, I played a funny trick. Right in the yard behind our house, I planted a lollipop stick. Then every day I watered it well and watched it carefully. I hoped one day that stick would grow to be a lollipop tree. Ah, ha, ha, oh, 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 what a sight to see. Me and my lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree. Then one day I woke to find a very lovely sight. A tree all full of lollipops had grown in the dark of the night. I sat beneath that wonderful tree and looked up with a grin. And when I opened up my mouth, a pop would drop right in. What a place to be, under a lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree. Winter came and days grew cold, as winter days will do. On my tree, my lovely tree, not one little lollipop grew. From every branch an icicle hung, the twigs were bare as bones. But when I broke the icicles off, they turned to ice cream cones. Ah, ha, ha, oh, 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 how I danced with glee under the lollipop, 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 lolly, lolly, lollipop tree.
Hello, this is Captain Kangaroo, and I have a book to read. It's called The Horse in Striped Pajamas. Now, if you'd like, you can just sit back and relax and listen to me read the book. Or, if you prefer, you may read along with me. Now, if you're going to read along with me, please remember, every time you hear, turn the page. The Horse in Striped Pajamas. This is a very true story. It is all about a little boy who didn't always see things the way other people saw them. This story is also about the strange things he saw the day he and his father went to the zoo. He saw a man with a fur coat on his chin. His father said it was a man with a beard. Just see things the way they are, his father told him. Then the little boy saw a man pushing a cart piled high with peanuts. The little boy said it was a man looking for a lost elephant, and he was going to catch it with all those peanuts. His father said that what it really was a man selling peanuts, not pushing an elephant trap. The little boy said it could be that, too. And could he have some peanuts? His father said, later. They walked some more, and the little boy saw a man wearing a pot on his head. His father said that the man was a policeman wearing a helmet. The little boy said it looked like a pot to him. So his father sat the little boy down on a bench just outside the zoo and had a long talk with him. Things, said his father, have certain names for very good reasons. You just can't say things are what you think they are, because nobody will know what you're talking about. The little boy said he couldn't help the way things looked to him. They started out being what they were, but all of a sudden, they seemed to change. Besides, it was more fun his way than the real way. His father said, try. And he said he would. And so they walked through the gates and into the zoo. The little boy looked all around. He saw the animals. He saw that the animals saw him. So he said, if a zoo is for people to watch animals in, then it's also a place for animals to watch people in. A zoo is where anything can look at anybody. His father said it could be, but it wasn't. They came to a great big cage with a great big white bear. The boy's father asked him if he knew what kind of a bear it was, and the little boy said it was called a rug. No, his father said, this bear is called a polar bear. But the little boy said it looked like the rug at Uncle Harry's, the rug Aunt Lucy wouldn't let anyone stand on. And here was the same rug walking around all by itself, and this one must be very hard to stand on. He asked his father if it was called a bear rug or a rug bear, and his father told him it was called a polar bear, and that was that. They walked some more. The little boy saw some walking rocks, and his father said they were turtles, and he knew that very well because he had some small ones at home. They walked some more. They saw a man inside a cage cleaning the floors and the walls. The father asked the little boy what he saw, and he said it was just a man cleaning a cage. His father said, oh, and they walked some more. And they came to a big cage, and in the middle of the cage was a huge pool of water. And swimming in the huge pool of water was a gigantic hippopotamus. There's a hippo, the little boy said. And his father nodded and said that's exactly what it is. He asked the little boy why it was that sometimes he could see things the way they were, and sometimes he would see things the way they weren't. And why couldn't he see things the way other boys saw them? The little boy said he didn't know. That's just the way I am, he said. Maybe I'm a different kind of boy. Just then, the hippopotamus sank slowly down into the pool of water, all that was left, and all that the boy and his father could see were the great big eyes staring at them from the surface of the water. "Look," said the little boy, "the pool of water is looking at us." His father stared at the water, and the more he stared, the more he began to think that maybe the water was looking at him. And it was funny, and it was fun. So he winked at the pool of water, and the water winked back at him. "If you're a different kind of boy," he said to the little boy, "then I'm a different kind of father. So let's go and see what there is to see that isn't the way we always see it." They left the hippo and the pool and the eyes, and they saw a whole zoo full of new animals that no one had ever seen before, because they forgot all about what things are supposed to be and saw them as they wanted them to be. They saw a bird in a tuxedo, a fish with whiskers, a teddy bear with 2 black eyes, a cat with polka dots, a bird with a big umbrella, and a horse in striped pajamas. And when they went home, they told everyone what they had seen, and nobody believed them. But they didn't care. Anybody can see a zebra, but who can see a horse in striped pajamas?
Say, Mr. Moose, I've got an idea. Why don't we go to the zoo with all the boys and girls?
Sure. Mr. Green Jeans, do you see? There's a horse in striped pajamas.
No, that's not what it is at all. That's an animal people call a zebra.
I see, but it still looks like a horse in striped pajamas to me. Mr. Green Jeans, do you see? There's a bird in his tuxedo.
No, that's not what it is at all. That's an animal people call a penguin.
I see, but it still looks like a bird in his tuxedo to me. There's a fish with whiskers on.
That's a seal. For real.
There's a teddy with 2 black eyes.
That's how they planned a little panda.
Mr. Green Jeans, do you see? There's a cat with polka dots on.
No, that's not what it is at all. That's an animal people call a leopard.
I see, but it still looks like a cat with polka dots on to me. Mr. Green Jeans, do you see? There's a bird with a big umbrella.
No, that's not
No?
what it is at all. That's an animal people call a peacock.
I see, but it still looks like a bird with his umbrella to me. When we get back home, Mr. Green Jeans, to the treasure house, I'm going to tell the captain and everybody.
What are you going to tell them?
I saw a fish with whiskers on.
You saw a teddy with 2 black eyes.
I saw a cat with polka dots.
You saw a bird in his tuxedo. And of course a horse in striped pajamas.